In the heart of 12th century England, nestled within the rolling countryside of Suffolk, lay the small village of Woolpit, a peaceful farming community. It was known for its bountiful harvests and deep, wolf-catching pits, from which it got its name. Life was simple, predictable, until the day something extraordinary shattered the routine of the villagers. One summer afternoon, as farmers worked under the golden sun, a commotion erupted near one of the wolf pits. The workers, expecting to find a trapped animal, instead discovered two young children, unlike any they had ever seen. A boy and a girl, no older than 6 or 7, stood huddled together at the edge of the pit. Their clothing was made of an unfamiliar fabric, woven in a strange pattern. But it wasn't their attire that struck fear and fascination into the villagers. It was their skin. The children were green. Their eyes, wide with fear and confusion, darted between the onlookers. They spoke in a language no one could understand, their words an indecipherable melody of strange sounds. Frightened yet intrigued, the villagers carefully led the children into Woolpit. Who were these mysterious visitors? Where had they come from? And, perhaps most chilling of all, why were they green? The villagers, though wary, showed kindness to the strange children. They were taken into the home of Sir Richard Acon, a local nobleman who took it upon himself to care for them. But there was another mystery. Despite being offered bread, meat, and fruits, the children refused to eat. They seemed utterly unfamiliar with the food of the village, turning away from even the simplest of meals. Days passed and concern grew. If they would not eat, they would surely starve. Then, by chance, the villagers brought fresh broad beans, still in their pods. At the sight of the beans, the children's eyes lit up. They eagerly took the pods and opened them, devouring the beans inside with visible relief. It seemed they had finally found something familiar. Over time, the children adjusted to village life. But the mystery deepened. Where had they come from? Had they lived solely on beans before? And more importantly, why had they never seen bread? As the children slowly adapted to life in Woolpit, tragedy struck. The boy, the younger of the two, fell gravely ill. Whether it was a shock of their ordeal, the adjustment to new food, or an unknown illness, no one knew. Despite the villagers' best efforts, his condition worsened. Within weeks of his arrival, the boy succumbed to his illness, leaving his sister to navigate their new world alone. His passing left many questions unanswered. Could his death have been linked to their mysterious origins? Did he suffer from a condition unknown to medieval medicine? Or was it simply the frailty of a child caught in a world so different from his own? Whatever the cause, his sister, though grieving, continued to grow stronger, slowly learning the ways of Woolpit and, eventually, revealing the first clues to their origins. With her younger brother gone, the green-skinned girl was left to face the world of Woolpit alone. The villagers, particularly Sir Richard Acon and his household, took great care to nurture her, providing her with warmth, kindness, and education. In time, her body began to change. The first and most notable transformation was her diet. Initially surviving only on raw broad beans, the girl eventually expanded her palate. She tried new foods, tentatively at first, but as her confidence grew, so did her appetite. Soon, she was eating bread, meat, and vegetables, things that had once been utterly foreign to her. As her nutrition improved, another change occurred. The green hue of her skin, once vibrant and striking, began to fade. Slowly, her complexion turned to a more natural tone, blending with those of the villagers. This shift further fueled the debate about the origins of the children. Was their green skin due to malnutrition? Was it an inherited trait? Or did it come from something beyond human understanding? As she learned the language of the village, the girl was finally able to share her story, and what she revealed only deepened the mystery. The first words spoken by the girl were met with astonishment. She described a land unlike anything the villagers had ever heard of, a place where the sun never shone, where the air was dim, and where the light was always at a twilight. In this strange land, she said, all the inhabitants were green-skinned, just as she and her brother had been. They lived in a vast place, one she described as lying beneath the earth's surface. She spoke of rivers and fields, but no direct sunlight, only a permanent dusk. Her story took an even stranger turn when she explained how they had arrived in Woolpit. She and her brother, she claimed, had been tending to their family's animals when they heard a strange sound, like the ringing of a great bell. They followed the sound through a cavern, only to suddenly find themselves lost. Blinded by an intense light, they wandered through an unfamiliar tunnel, emerging into a new world, Woolpit. The transition had been abrupt. They had no idea how they had arrived, nor could they return. The villagers listened in awe. Was this girl speaking of another dimension? Had she come from an underground civilization? Or was this merely a confused recollection of an unknown but very real place? The tale of the green children puzzled the villagers of Woolpit for years to come. Even centuries later, historians and researchers have debated possible explanations for the strange visitors. One of the most common theories suggests that the children were Flemish refugees, survivors of war. In the 12th century, England was embroiled in conflicts, and Flemish immigrants were sometimes persecuted. Some believe the children may have fled from a nearby battle and wandered into Woolpit, their greenish skin caused by severe malnutrition, possibly from a deficiency such as chlorosis, which can tint the skin green. Another theory speculates that the children had been raised in a hidden village or isolated valley, giving rise to their unusual language and diet. Perhaps they were victims of abandonment, lost in the dense woodlands before stumbling into the village. But others argue something more extraordinary. Could these children have come from an underground civilization, as the girl described? Some link their story to ancient folklore, particularly tales of faeries or people from another world. And then there are those who consider the possibility that the green children of Woolpit were not of this earth at all. As the story of the green children of Woolpit spread beyond the village, it captivated storytellers and scholars alike. Some saw it as evidence of something beyond human comprehension, a supernatural event, deeply connected to folklore and ancient myths. One of the most enduring theories is that the children were fairy folk. Medieval England was steeped in legends of hidden realms, magical beings, and parallel worlds existing just beyond the veil of human sight. Some believe that the children had wandered out of such a realm, perhaps a fairy kingdom hidden deep beneath the earth, only to be trapped in the mortal world. The girl's description of her homeland, where the sun never shone, bore similarities to the concept of the Otherworld, a mysterious parallel plane found in many Celtic and Anglo-Saxon myths. Could Woolpit have been a crossing point between two dimensions? A more modern take on this theory goes even further, suggesting that the children may have been extraterrestrials. The idea of their green skin, their unfamiliar language, and their sudden appearance in a strange location has led some to speculate that they were not from Earth at all. Did they come through a rift in time and space? Were they survivors of a crashed vessel, left to wander an unfamiliar planet? While supernatural theories captivate the imagination, modern scientists have sought to explain the mystery in more grounded terms. Could the green children's unusual appearance be explained by medical science? One widely accepted hypothesis is that the children suffered from chlorosis, also known as green sickness. This condition, caused by severe iron deficiency, can result in a pale greenish tint to the skin. In an era where malnutrition was common, it's plausible that the children had suffered from extreme dietary deficiencies before arriving in Woolpit. Another possibility is hypochromic anemia, a disorder that also affects skin pigmentation and causes weakness. It would explain why the girl's skin gradually lost its green color as she consumed a healthier diet in Woolpit. Still, these explanations do not account for their strange language, their fear of normal food, or their vivid description of a land of eternal twilight. Could their appearance have been due to more than just diet, perhaps an unknown genetic condition? Or were they truly visitors from an undiscovered place? To fully understand the mystery of the green children, we must also consider the historical context of the time. The 12th century was a turbulent period in England. The reign of King Stephen, 1135 to 1154, was marked by civil war, rebellion, and famine. Some historians propose that the green children were Flemish refugees, orphaned by war. At the time, many Flemish settlers had migrated to England, only to become targets of hostility and violence. In 1173, Flemish communities were attacked during conflicts between King Henry II and his rebellious sons. Could the children have been among those displaced by war? If so, their strange language might have been a Flemish dialect unfamiliar to the English villagers. Their green skin could have been a result of starvation, and their fear of unfamiliar food a sign of trauma. But if they were simply lost refugees, why did the girl claim they came from a land of perpetual twilight? Was it a misinterpretation, a child's fragmented memory, or something much stranger? As strange as it sounds, one of the more intriguing theories is that the green children of Woolpit may have come from a hidden subterranean world. The girls account her homeland, a place with no direct sunlight, where everything was bathed in dim twilight, suggests the possibility that they had lived underground. Across history, there have been legends of underground civilizations. From the Greek myth of Agartha to the stories of secret tunnels beneath ancient cities, humanity has long wondered about what might lie beneath the Earth's surface. Could the children have been members of an isolated underground settlement, one cut off from the outside world for generations? Some scientists believe that caves and deep tunnel networks could sustain life, particularly if certain plants and fungi adapted to low-light conditions. If a group of people had lived underground for centuries, it's possible they could have developed an unusual diet, perhaps one rich in chlorophyll-rich plants, which might have given their skin a greenish hue. The question remains, if they truly came from beneath the earth, how did they reach Woolpit? Could they have wandered into an opening, losing their way and emerging into a world they had never seen before? Or was their story exaggerated, the details lost in translation over time? As time passed, the girl fully assimilated into village life. She continued living in Woolpit for many years, eventually losing all traces of her former green skin. She became fluent in English, taking on the customs and traditions of those around her. Some historical accounts suggest that she was given the name Agnes, and later married a man from King's Lynn, a nearby town. If true, this means she lived a long and ordinary life, far removed from the mysteries of her past. But did she ever forget her origins? Some say that even as an adult, she occasionally spoke of her strange homeland, insisting that she and her brother had come from a different world. Was this just a memory of a childhood tale, or had she truly experienced something beyond explanation? The story of the green children might have ended with her, but the mystery surrounding them continued to grow. The reason we even know of the green children today is thanks to two medieval chroniclers, William of Newburgh and Ralph of Coggeshall. These two men recorded the strange events of Woolpit, ensuring that the story would not be lost to history. William of Newburgh, a monk and historian, included the tale in his 12th century work Historia Rerum Anglicarum, the history of English affairs. He was known for his careful and skeptical approach to writing, which makes his inclusion of this bizarre account all the more compelling. Meanwhile, Ralph of Coggeshall, a monk at Coggeshall Abbey, also documented the incident, providing slightly different details, including additional insights into the children's behavior and diet. Both chroniclers claimed that they had heard the story from reliable sources, possibly even from people who had lived in Woolpit at the time. But as with all medieval records, we must ask, were they reporting facts or had the story been altered through generations of oral storytelling? Regardless, their writings ensured that the mystery of the green children would endure for centuries to come, captivating scholars, scientists, and storytellers alike. As centuries passed, the story of the green children of Woolpit took on a life of its own. Medieval society was rich with folklore and stories of strange beings, whether supernatural, divine, or monstrous, fascinated people from all walks of life. The green children became a part of this oral tradition, their tales shifting and evolving as it was told and retold. The psychological impact of such a tale was profound. In an age where knowledge of the world was limited, people sought explanations through faith, myth, and legend. The green children were interpreted by some as a sign from God, by others as an omen or a warning. For villagers, they may have represented the fear of the unknown, the idea that beyond the safety of their homes lay a world filled with mysteries beyond human comprehension. But could their story have been influenced by real psychological or cultural factors? Some historians suggest that the account of the green children may have been exaggerated, transformed through years of storytelling. The villagers who encountered them may have interpreted their odd behavior and appearance through the lens of medieval superstition, seeing them as something otherworldly rather than simply lost and malnourished children. Yet, despite the likelihood of embellishment, the fundamental details of the story remains strikingly consistent across different accounts. Could it be that the villagers truly encountered something inexplicable? The tale of the green children of Woolpit is not an isolated story. Across the world, similar legends exist, tales of strange beings appearing out of nowhere, speaking unknown languages, and possessing unusual physical traits. In the Netherlands, stories of the green children of Lyre emerged in later centuries, recounting nearly identical events to those in Woolpit. Some believe this was simply a retelling of the original story, but others speculate that it may suggest a broader phenomenon. Elsewhere in Europe, myths of changelings, children stolen by faeries and replaced with strange, otherworldly beings, mirror the mystery of Woolpit. These stories often feature children who behave oddly, struggle to adapt to normal life, or appear physically different from others in their community. Even beyond Europe, in indigenous folklore from various cultures, there are tales of people emerging from hidden lands, sometimes from beneath the earth or from distant, unreachable places. Could the story of the green children be connected to a larger pattern of human mythology? Or were they truly a unique and singular event in history? To fully understand how medieval people might have interpreted the green children, we must look at the science, or rather, the belief systems of the 12th century. At the time, medieval science was deeply intertwined with religion and superstition. Many natural phenomena were explained through divine intervention, astrology, or alchemy. The idea of other worlds, parallel realms, and hidden lands was not as far-fetched to medieval minds as it might seem today. Some medieval scholars may have speculated that the green children were from a distant, undiscovered land, a place beyond the maps of known civilization. In an era when vast territories remained unexplored, it was not uncommon to believe in mythical lands filled with strange creatures and peoples. At the same time, medical knowledge was extremely limited. Conditions like chlorosis, anemia, or other dietary deficiencies were not understood. If the green children suffered from a medical condition that caused their skin color, medieval villagers would have had no framework to explain it, leading them to believe in a supernatural cause instead. The fusion of myth, limited medical knowledge, and a worldview shaped by faith and folklore all contributed to how the green children were perceived. But despite centuries of progress, their true origins remain as mysterious today as they were in the 12th century. With advances in science and historical research, modern scholars have attempted to solve the riddle of the green children of Woolpit. Could 21st century knowledge finally explain a mystery that has persisted for over 800 years? One of the most widely accepted explanations remains chlorosis, a form of iron deficiency that can give the skin a greenish hue. Historians have noted that malnutrition was common in medieval times, especially among displaced or abandoned children. If the green children have been lost or isolated for a long period, they may have suffered from this condition, which could explain their appearance. As their diet improved, their skin would have returned to normal, just as the girls did over time. Another scientific approach focuses on language and cultural displacement. The children's inability to communicate might suggest they were from an isolated community with a rare dialect. Linguistic experts have attempted to link their description of their homeland to real places, considering whether a lost or hidden village could have existed in 12th century England. Archaeological studies have yet to uncover any direct evidence of the children's origins, but researchers continue to analyze medieval burial sites, historical records, and regional folklore for possible clues. While science has provided logical explanations, it has yet to offer definitive proof. Could it be that the answer still lies buried in the past? The mystery of the green children of Woolpit has not only endured, but has become a fixture in popular culture. Writers, filmmakers, and storytellers have drawn inspiration from their tale, weaving it into novels, television series, and even science fiction theories. The story has been reimagined in various ways. Some depictions lean into the supernatural, portraying the children as visitors from another realm, while others take a historical approach, emphasizing their possible origins as war refugees. Some modern authors have even suggested extraterrestrial origins, making the green children a subject of UFO lore. Science fiction has embraced the tale, with some speculating that the children were interdimensional travelers lost between worlds. The idea of green-skinned beings from another place has fueled theories about parallel universes, underground civilizations, and alien visitors. The legend has also influenced historical fiction and fantasy literature, appearing in books like The Green Children by Kevin Crossley Holland and Strange Stories, Amazing Facts by Reader's Digest. It has inspired plays, podcasts, and documentaries, ensuring that the mystery continues to capture new audiences. But with so many interpretations, one question remains. Are we any closer to uncovering the truth? With no physical evidence of the Green Children ever existing, some researchers have questioned whether they were real at all. Could their story have been a medieval invention, an exaggerated folk tale passed down through generations? Skeptics argue that the story may have been a moral or allegorical lesson, designed to warn villagers about outsiders or reinforce ideas about faith and divine intervention. The presence of green-skinned children could have symbolized purity, innocence, or even original sin, elements often explored in medieval storytelling. Another possibility is that the account was a misinterpretation or deliberate exaggeration by medieval chroniclers. William of Newburgh and Ralph of Coggeshall recorded the event decades after it supposedly took place. With no first-hand accounts, it's likely the story was shaped by time, retellings, and medieval superstition. However, others point out that the consistency of the details across multiple records suggests the story was based on real events. Whether exaggerated or not, something strange clearly happened in Woolpit, something that left a mark on history. So, were the Green Children of Woolpit real? Or were they simply the creation of a medieval mind trying to explain the unexplained? Despite centuries of debate, the mystery of the Green Children of Woolpit remains unsolved. But their story has left an undeniable mark on history. Today, the village of Woolpit still embraces its most famous legend. Visitors can find references to the Green Children in local history books, folklore collections, and even tourism materials. Some claim that remnants of their existence may still be hidden beneath the soil, undiscovered graves, artifacts, or documents that could provide more clues. Historians continue to study the case, analyzing medieval texts for overlooked details. Meanwhile, folklorists and paranormal researchers explore connections between this story and other strange events recorded throughout history. Whether viewed as a historical anomaly, an unexplained phenomenon, or a case of medieval exaggeration, the legend persists. Perhaps that is the greatest legacy of the Green Children. Not just the mystery itself, but the questions it continues to inspire. Were they lost refugees? Survivors from a hidden underground world? Or proof of something even more extraordinary? So, after all the theories, explanations, and investigations, what is the truth behind the Green Children of Woolpit? Were they simply malnourished orphans, their story distorted over time? Did they wander from an underground settlement, their memories confused by childhood perception? Or was there truly something otherworldly about them? Scientific explanations offer compelling reasons for their green skin, unusual diet, and strange language. Chlorosis, malnutrition, and linguistic isolation could explain much of their mystery. And yet, the girls' account of her homeland, a world without sunlight, does not easily fit within the framework of known history. The supernatural and extraterrestrial theories persist, fueled by the gaps in medieval records and the human desire to believe in the extraordinary. Could they have come from a parallel dimension or a lost civilization hidden deep within the earth? Could they have been an unknown species, one that left no trace behind? Ultimately, the Green Children of Woolpit remain one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of medieval England. Whether you believe in folklore, science, or something beyond explanation, one fact is undeniable. This story has endured for over 800 years, defying logic and inviting curiosity. And maybe, just maybe, the truth is still waiting to be uncovered. What do you think? Were the Green Children of Woolpit real, or just a medieval legend? Could they have been lost refugees, underground dwellers, or visitors from another world? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. If you love unraveling history's greatest mysteries, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the Crit Stories, and turn on notifications so you never miss a deep dive into the unexplained. History is full of secrets. Are you ready to uncover them?